And Ronnie, first up, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, not too bad.
Now, obviously, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you about your withdrawal. Was it a tough decision?
Yeah, it was a nightmare decision, really, to make. You know, if you'd have asked me Sunday was I ready to play, I probably would have been okay to play. But it's such a massive tournament, and I've obviously been on this 3-week trip away playing, and I just think I just exhausted myself. You know, a lot of pressure while I was away, and I just think.
Did you know that Ronnie O'Sullivan just shocked the snooker world with a heartbreaking announcement? He's out of the World Grand Prix. But why did he really withdraw, and what does this mean for his career? Stay tuned as we uncover the emotional reasons behind his decision and what's next for the snooker legend. Ronnie O'Sullivan released a heartfelt statement announcing his withdrawal from the World Grand Prix, citing personal reasons that left fans stunned. In his message, he expressed deep regret, stating, "This was not an easy decision, but it's necessary for my well-being." The emotional tone reflected his disappointment and appreciation for supporters. Fans quickly responded with an outpouring of encouragement on social media, emphasizing their understanding and concern for his health. Fellow players and analysts shared sympathetic messages, highlighting the void his absence would create in the tournament. Ronnie O'Sullivan's withdrawal from the World Grand Prix has sparked discussions about potential health concerns and personal challenges. Known for his battles with mental health, some speculate that stress and burnout may have influenced his decision. In past instances, Ronnie stepped back to prioritize well-being, emphasizing the importance of mental balance in high-pressure sports. His statement, mentioning the need for time to recover and refocus, suggests a similar scenario. Analysts believe this move reflects his commitment to longevity in the sport, valuing self-care over immediate competition. Ronnie O'Sullivan's withdrawal triggered a wave of emotional reactions on social media, with fans flooding platforms with supportive messages like, "Take all the time you need, Ronnie." Many expressed concern for his well-being over tournament outcomes. Fellow snooker players, including Judd Trump and Mark Selby, voiced empathy, highlighting the pressures of the sport. Analysts emphasized the significant impact of Ronnie's absence, describing it as a massive blow to the World Grand Prix, where his presence often elevates viewership and competition standards. Looking back at his journey in the tournament, Ronnie's achievements are monumental. With multiple titles and countless century breaks, his tactical brilliance and flair have delivered unforgettable moments. His 2021 victory, marked by a flawless performance, remains a standout. Statistically, Ronnie boasts one of the highest win rates at the World Grand Prix, making his withdrawal a notable void. Analysts believe this decision, while necessary, could influence his legacy, sparking debates on the balance between career longevity and selective participation. However, fans remain hopeful, prioritizing his health over records. Following Ronnie O'Sullivan's withdrawal from the World Grand Prix, speculations are mounting about his recovery and future appearances. Insiders suggest that his break might be temporary, aimed at regaining mental and physical well-being for upcoming championships. The Masters and World Championship loom ahead, and fans are hopeful that Ronnie's time off will enable a strong comeback. Analysts believe that if he misses further events, it could impact his ranking, making his path to future titles more challenging. However, given Ronnie's history of defying expectations, many remain optimistic. His absence has also stirred discussions about the broader implications for the snooker world. Without Ronnie, tournament dynamics shift, potentially opening doors for emerging talents. Yet, as one of the sport's biggest draws, his return would be a major boost for viewership and competitive spirit. Fans have taken to social media with messages like, "Your health comes first, champ. Can't wait to see you back in action." Prominent players have echoed similar sentiments, expressing both support and anticipation for his return. The snooker community's overwhelming response reflects Ronnie's profound impact on the sport. While uncertainty surrounds the timeline of his comeback, the consensus is clear. Health must take precedence. His resilience in past comebacks fuels confidence that this is not a farewell, but a pause. As fans and analysts alike await updates, the hope is that Ronnie O'Sullivan's next chapter will be marked by renewed strength and another masterclass in snooker. Ronnie O'Sullivan, widely regarded as one of the greatest snooker players of all time, has recently made headlines for reasons that extend far beyond his prowess on the green bays. O'Sullivan has withdrawn from the Masters tournament on medical grounds, mere hours after revealing in an interview with The Telegraph that taking up snooker was the worst life choice he ever made. This startling admission, along with his sudden withdrawal from the prestigious tournament, has shocked the snooker world and beyond. O'Sullivan, aged 49, was set to begin his campaign for a record-extending 9th Masters title at Alexandra Palace on Sunday. His withdrawal comes as a significant blow to the tournament, given his status as the defending champion. The announcement is particularly poignant as it follows closely on the heels of O'Sullivan pulling out of his final Championship League group game just a day earlier. In his revealing interview with The Telegraph, O'Sullivan laid bare his conflicted feelings about his illustrious career in snooker. He said, "In some ways, I wish I had a different job. I'm fortunate in many ways because it's been good to me, but I wish I'd been good at something else." These words, coming from a player who has dominated the sport for decades and earned more than 14 million pounds in prize money, paint a sad picture of a man at odds with his own success. O'Sullivan's revelation comes as a stark contrast to the image of the confident, sometimes brash player that fans have come to know over the years. He expressed a desire for a more intellectually stimulating career path, stating he would have preferred something more educational, maybe a scientist or something more interesting. This longing for a different life path raises profound questions about the nature of success and personal fulfillment in professional sports. The 7-time world champion went further, dismissing snooker as more of an entertainment, more of a brutality sport. He specifically mentioned wanting a life similar to that of sports psychiatrist Steve Peters, or to inspire people in a different way, like helping to cure cancer. These statements reveal a deep-seated desire for a career with what O'Sullivan perceives as more meaningful impact. O'Sullivan's comments shed light on the often overlooked downsides of professional snooker. The solitary nature of the sport emerges as a significant drawback. "It's too much time on your own," O'Sullivan explained. "I'd rather do something where you're trying to cure something and you've got a team of people." This insight into the psychological challenges of individual sports highlights the mental fortitude required to excel at the highest levels. The champion elaborated on the psychological toll of competing alone. He said, "I found just being on my own. It's quite hard because you've got to motivate yourself. You've got to push yourself. You've got to figure out all the answers yourself." O'Sullivan's preference for team environments becomes clear as he adds, "If I was in a team environment, I think I'd have enjoyed that camaraderie." Perhaps the most heart-wrenching part of O'Sullivan's interview was his admission of past drug and alcohol abuse. In a confession, he revealed his biggest regret: going out, drinking, partying, and taking Class A drugs.
Process of kind of getting well, if you like, was to try and find a higher power. A lot of people went to religion. I thought, I'm not really down with rules, you know, I'm not good with rules. So I thought, anyone telling me that I've got to do this and do that and do this and do that, I was like, you know, but I tried it and I can see why people like it, and it can work. It can work for some people. It can work for some people, but it just wasn't going to work for me. So Buddhism was kind of like I don't know, it was something that I thought maybe kind of could give me some structure, give me some peace, because I needed a bit of peace of mind, you know, within this snooker depression, within this sport that I really think is a tough sport, what it is for me, some people it might not be. I need to find that little bit of inner peace, you know, that place where I can take myself to and just kind of like feel all right about myself, you know, whether I play well or not. If I can take myself to that place where I think, you know, life's okay, then I'm able to probably cope with the demands of snooker. So Buddhism was a good one for me, because it allowed me to just try and just find that contentment without handing my life over to this higher power that already had the plan made, you know. So for me, when I looked at like a God in a way, I kind of thought, if he's already made the decisions, what's the point of me putting in the effort? And I mean, I could try really hard all day, and yet he's already made the decision. And that really bothered me. But with Buddhism, there was none of that. It was just like, you just find your own peace, your own rhythm, and kind of like you still have an element of control of what the outcome can be, you know. I never like to feel like that I have no control out of the outcome of any situation. So Buddhism worked really well for me, and I still kind of hold on to some of them teachings, you know, because sometimes...
What was the main teachings that you got from it?
I think what it was just about...
He further added, "At that point in my life, I wasn't happy, and I was doing that to try to be happy. It got hold of me rather than me being in control of it, and that felt like a shit place to be. This honesty about his struggles with substance abuse provides context for some of the erratic behavior fans have witnessed over the years. While O'Sullivan found recovery and achieved sobriety, he acknowledged that he still drinks occasionally. In his words, he said, "I'm not clean and sober now, though. I still have a good drink and this and that, but I know not to get too involved." O'Sullivan's recent withdrawal from the Masters tournament is not an isolated incident. It follows his pulling out of his final Championship League group game just a day earlier. These withdrawals, along with visible frustration during recent performances, paint a picture of a player struggling with the pressures of the sport. During a recent Championship League match where he lost 3-2 to Robert Milkins, O'Sullivan was seen hammering his cue against the table after missing an easy pink. He later disposed of the same cue in a bin, though officials later retrieved it. These actions, while not uncommon in the heat of competition, take on new significance in light of O'Sullivan's recent statements. O'Sullivan's complicated relationship with fame adds another layer to his struggles. He expressed discomfort with public attention and celebrity encounters, stating, "I don't really like people, to be honest, let alone celebrities. I'm not a lover of people, so I try and steer clear of them." His struggles with fan interactions are particularly telling. O'Sullivan described the hardest part of being famous as making small talk, saying he disliked fans with silly, childish, idiotic grins on their faces. He bluntly stated, "I don't mind if people talk to me, but when they've got those stupid grins, then they can fuck off." Despite his current struggles and misgivings about his career choice, O'Sullivan's achievements in snooker are undeniable. He is a 7-time world champion and has earned more than £14 million in prize money throughout his career. His 8 Masters titles stand as evidence of his dominance in the sport. One of the most significant positive influences in O'Sullivan's career has been sports psychologist Steve Peters. O'Sullivan credits Peters with rekindling his interest in snooker after he had enough of playing. The key advice from Peters that resonated with O'Sullivan was, "Life is fickle. Don't get bogged down with it." This counsel helped O'Sullivan navigate the emotional highs and lows of his career. O'Sullivan described his work with Peters as transformative. He explained, "I'd kind of given up on everything at the time. I'd had enough of playing snooker, but when I met Steve, he got my interest going again. At the time, everyone else was just saying, 'Be positive, be positive,' and I was fed up with hearing the word positive. Then Steve said, 'I'm not going to tell you to be positive because that doesn't work,' which intrigued me and made me think there's a science to it, and I'm quite science-based." This approach resonated with O'Sullivan, who added, "I'm not one to leave it up to the gods. I believe that if you get the recipe right, it's going to be good, and that's what I bought into with Steve." The key ingredient for O'Sullivan was understanding that he was being hijacked by one part of my brain. He learned to deal with this and not be controlled by his emotions, which had previously led to self-sabotage. O'Sullivan's relationship with snooker began in his childhood, with fond memories of playing at Pontins in Hemsby, Great Yarmouth, as an 8-year-old. He recalls, "I used to love just hanging out in the arcades with all my mates, being naughty, misbehaving, playing snooker, going to bed late and being around loads of snooker people. I loved snooker at once, even though I was pretty average at first. It was only when I got to about 12 I thought, I'm actually not that bad at this game." However, these early experiences weren't all positive. O'Sullivan also recounted getting banned from Pontins for misbehavior. He described an incident where he threw a glass of Coke at a friend, which ended up hitting an old granny's face. "I was bang in trouble, so from that moment on, I had to learn to behave," he said. Despite these early mishaps, snooker clubs became a refuge for O'Sullivan. He described them as his church, saying, "It was my place of safety and peace. It wasn't just the game, it was the people and the environment, especially Orford Snooker Club in Walthamstow. It was more like a home to me than anywhere I've ever been. I used to spend all my life down there. I'd eat down there. I'd play down there. I'd go to the gym next door. It was everything to me." O'Sullivan's career has been marked by numerous highs, including his victory in the 2012 World Championship. He describes this as the best day of his life, saying, "When I won the World Championships in 2012 and my son, little Ronnie, who was about 4 or 5 at the time, was there, I had 2 really bad years, and I felt like I'd been written off, and then I started working with the sports psychologist Steve Peters. I was playing well, but I just wasn't getting any results, and I thought, what's going on here? Normally, if I play well, I win a lot. But because I hadn't done anything for 2 years, it felt like karma. You have to earn the respect of the game again, but I didn't know that at the time. At that moment, I thought, maybe I'm done. Then everything came together, and I won the tournament, and having my son there to witness it made it even more special. Another career highlight for O'Sullivan was winning the 2014 Welsh Open. He describes this as his best moment on a snooker table, saying, "I played really well from start to finish in that tournament and finished off with 147 against Ding Junhui. I was playing great. I was in my prime. Everything felt good. The game felt easy. I didn't realize how easy it was until you start to struggle, and then you think, God, it's actually a hard game. But at the time, it felt really easy. I just felt like I could do anything." As O'Sullivan struggles with his feelings about his career, speculation about his future in the sport is rife. Fellow player Judd Trump believes O'Sullivan won't be seen many more times in the wake of his shock Masters withdrawal. Trump stated, "He's someone, from what I can tell, he probably wants to have one big last hurrah and get out of here. To be honest, it could be any point where one more world championship and he calls it a day.